Let's do it, man.
Awesome.
Let's rock and roll.
Guys, welcome to the video game collecting panel.
Yeah.
So first, I think it's best that we all introduce ourselves because everyone's like, who the hell are these four gentlemen up here?
That's what I'm wondering.
We all do. We all have YouTube channels. We all love video games, and we turn that into a passion at the same time. So, you want to start down there? We'll work our way this way. Introduce yourself, and tell everybody how many games are in your collection.
Are we gonna use the mic, or we just gonna?
Oh shit! I was projecting. check.
Yeah, you hear you pretty good.
Hello.
You broke it, man.
Bob Saget.
Every rose has
Now you have to start over.
Check.
I didn't even read
You said it wasn't in the script?
I didn't do
actually,
I
it
didn't
wasn't.
do anything.
Did you turn the microphone on? Is it closed?
Yeah. It's on.
Is it?
Can I get tech support?
This is a great angle. I love this angle.
Just stay right there the whole time. Did we pop
Is
out?
everything plugged in good?
Power on. Really? We just had it on. This is the type of panel. This is why we don't have nice things. Hello. Check. Okay, guys, we gotta yell.
All right. Well,
I mean,
Work a minute.
I've played games for like 4 years. I know how to
I
turn
hold
on.
him responsible at work before.
Hold on, there it goes.
Oh.
It actually, even though this blue light's on, it wasn't on.
Oh!
there we go.
Yay!
Thanks,
The blue light's on.
Okay, is that sound
I'm
okay?
working hard too.
Is it all right in the back? Sweet. All right.
Testing. All right. First of all, thank you to everybody for joining this panel. You know, I'm sure a lot of you probably don't know who the hell we are. We don't even know who the hell we are. I don't know who I am half the time. But yeah, no, my name's Matt. My YouTube channel is called RetroWolf88. I've been doing YouTube since about early 2019. I cover a lot of GameCube. I cover a lot of retro stuff. I do cover some modern stuff, but it's mainly on the retro side. I do game room tours on my channel with other collectors and things like that. Put a lot of production into the channel and just have a lot of fun with it. But if you love GameCube, then you'll probably enjoy my content because I do a lot of GameCube content. Tom, take it away.
Oh, take it away. So I'm Tom, the other half, not the better half of DoYouNerd, with my wife, Lady Lacey. We collect whatever we love. That's trademarked by Discart, but he's not here, so I'm using it. And we do a variety channel, a lot of convention coverage. We go to Renaissance festivals. We like to check out a lot of local stuff, really bring awareness of things like that. Other conventions, even if they're not video game specific, we like to focus on those, let people know there's all kinds of stuff out there for you to do. And we like to do unboxings. We like to talk about the stuff that we collect, show off some of the toys that we love to open because we don't leave anything sealed. So a little bit of everything. And yeah, we are very, very fortunate to be surrounded by so many people in this room and just in the community in general.
How many games are in your collection?
Oh, I think we're up to 3,200.
Woo!
So I mean that's nothing.
Well, no, you got more than me. I'm just a bit under.
That's too many games.
Just a bit under
But they're
3,000.
not. Yeah, but they're not GameCube games. Not.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. Hello. Hello. My name's Paul Andrew Case. Middle name is Andy. That's why I get Pac-Man. And then I put the last name Case like a freaking idiot at the end of my YouTube channel. So now I'm Pac-Man Case, which is actually Paul Andrew Case Man Case. Dumb, dude. And I can't go back once you started. It stinks. I've been doing YouTube probably about 3 years or so. I started off with my dad's NES collection, and still have it to this day, which is kind of where my collection started. He was sci-fi all the way, so I mean I was playing stuff like Defender, Galaxy 5000, which I think is a badass game. If you guys haven't played that one on NES, I love that game. I currently have 4,300 and I just looked it up and it's probably wrong. I think it's like 20 games. And I'm gonna say right now it's too many games. It's too many games. Because I'm never ever gonna get to all of them.
Enough. Get those numbers higher.
Yeah, those are Ricky numbers. Get them up. What do you want?
Hey, my name is Wolf. It's my actual name. I had a hippie mom, so it's pretty different. But yeah, my channel's Blips and Pips. It's like me and my corgi named Pip. It's the best ever. But no, so yeah, I've been collecting games for like a while, like a pretty long while, but not like super duper active, right? So I grew up like, and all my stuff came from flea markets. I never got anything new. So like a lot of people see my collection videos or whatever, and they're like, oh, you must have like a million bajillion games. But like, I actually did count them. Like it's like 1,000. And it's a lot. Like 1,000's great. It's a lot. But like you talk to some people like, oh, I got like 32 billion games. Jerks. But I mean, I got like 1,000 games, but like they're all important to me. Like I have Innocent for Super Nintendo. That game is horrible, but I love that game. It's so good. Yeah, I like 1,000 games, but it's like it's hard, right? Because you gotta find the games that mean something to you.
Yeah.
But then like also it's like, which one, if you find something crazy, like are you gonna buy it just because it's crazy and it's a good price? It's a weird balancing act, right? But yeah, I mean it's kind of where I'm at. It's a modest collection.
It's a good collection. So this question will probably come up anyway, but why do you collect video games? Why?
So me. So the reason why I collect video games is because I want to keep a piece of my childhood alive, right? I grew up with video games. I grew up with the NES, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and I went to Nintendo 64, GameCube, so on and so forth. And I think the older we get, I'm sure everybody in this room will agree with me, the older we get, I truly think the older we get, the more important it is to stay in touch with our inner child. I really do believe that. So yeah, I mean, that's really why I collect, and not to say video games are for kids, because obviously they're not. None of us are kids except Tom. He's just a big kid, but yeah, I mean, it's just, it's a great way to relieve stress. It's a great way to kind of escape reality a little bit, because reality can suck sometimes, right? The real world can suck. But yeah, collecting is just, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, especially when you're out in the wild and you find something, really awesome for a really good price. That feeling can't be beat. I'm sure a lot of you in this room have experienced that. It's an awesome feeling.
So why do I collect video games? Because I'm a grown man now, Dad, and I can do whatever I want. You cover a lot of it, honestly. The whole preservation is a huge aspect for us. We love having these games in a physical form that you can ideally always return to and visit. There are no servers going down. Nothing's getting deleted. Sony or someone that they've worked with doesn't decide suddenly, you know what, you can't play that game anymore because we said so. So the preservation part of it is a big thing. And honestly, growing up, not really having a whole lot of games in our household, that's kind of the thrill of it now, because now you get to go back and revisit all of those things that you missed out on. And so many times whenever I talk to other collectors, you hear someone say, oh, we had a Super Nintendo, but I never played Sega Genesis. So now they're starting to get into all of these Sega Genesis games, and it's a whole library of new to them 16-bit games. And I always love hearing that, because that's part of the fun of collecting video games, finding that stuff that you never knew about before. There's always something else out there for you. So it's fun, short and simple, and because it's my money, I'll do what I want with it.
Damn right.
Damn good answer. I think I'll just kind of go off what Tom said. When you have disposable income and you can use it where you want to do the things that you wanted to do when you were 10 that you couldn't do. Like, I want to go buy 800 gummy worms because that's what I wanted to do when I was 10, and I could go do it and not feel bad about it. Video games are kind of that same way. So my journey was a little different. I played games, but I was like everybody else. I played the Marios, I played the Sonics, and I wasn't really hardcore. I didn't have some deep cuts in my collection library. And then I watched CJR, which was a big mistake. And that was, I think his channel is now at like 9 years or 10 years, but to see the thrill of the hunt and then see him play this game you've never played before is like the coolest experience ever. There's so many games out there, not a single one of us has played all of them. And when you come on to some new experience that you've never had before, there's nothing like it. It's better than film, it's better than reading a book. Like, when it takes you on this freaking journey, this experience that I don't think any of us ever knew that this industry was going to blow up as it is right now. And I'm a huge physical collector, so I'm not a huge fan of digital just because it will be taken away from you. I'm not telling you like if, it will be taken away from you at some point. And so for us to curate a badass physical collection that hopefully we have the next 30, 40 years to play, that's what I think that's
So the future is digital. These guys are all wrong. No, so when I started collecting, like it kind of plays off of what you guys are saying, where I started out where it's like one of those games that I didn't have, right? You know, it's like, okay, I had Super Mario World, but I didn't have Super Mario RPG. You know, I had Final Fantasy 2, I didn't have Final Fantasy 3. So I was like, I want to get these things I didn't get to experience, but then things changed, right? So we're all old. That's us. We're all old, right? So, you know, I had one of my friends had his kids, they came over, you know, barbecue came over. And I remember his son, his kid Gabe, he was like, 10. He's like, Mr. Wolf, what are these games, you know? I was like, oh. So we sat down and we played, what did we play? It was like Super Mario World. He'd never played Super Mario. And like, he was all about it. I was like, this is, okay, cool. So I remember that day, I had an extra Game Boy Advance SP and I had the Super Mario World Game Boy Advance game. I just gave it to him. I was like, well, I mean, you know, they have a value, whatever. I was like, dude, you need this. Like, you love this, you need this. So now that I'm like, I've gotten to the point where most of the games I really wanted, like to fill in, I've gotten. So now, if and when I find doubles, usually I end up giving them or, you know, selling them very cheaply to friends who have kids who have never done it. And like, that's kind of where I'm at now. Because like, you know, I don't need whatever, you know, game, insert expensive game here. But like, you know, when you see someone who has never got to experience Sonic 3 for whatever reason, because like the weird music copyright thing, and like then they play it like, wow, this is like really cool. Yeah, it is. So, but like, you know, like it's cool now to like have friends, especially like friends with kids that are like, they're now getting old enough to experience these things, to come over to my game room and like, oh, let's go play Mr. Wolf's Crazy Games, and then like, you know, let's make a day of it, barbecue. And that's kind of where I'm at nowadays.
By the way, Mr. Wolf's Crazy Games, that's a title for a series right there.
So we all have game rooms, right? I bet everybody in here has a game room or a game den or a shelf that's like your favorite piece. Liar. Over here. So another, kind of last one, we kind of opened up to Q&A, and we've got some trivia questions and some giveaways to go here. But talk to me a little bit about the design of your game rooms. Like, why is your game room the way it is, and what would you do to change it?
So my game room started off, you know, with those cheap ass Walmart shelves. You guys know the ones I'm talking about. The bookshelves, and the games are like way back in the shelf. It doesn't look good. I think most of us start off with stuff
Where
like
the
that.
shelves like bending?
Yeah, bins in the middle. Yeah. And they only give you 3 shelves. You got this giant gap, you know, unless you stack them like this, and nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, you got a metal Jesus room.
Yeah, right. yeah. But I discovered, I don't know if anybody in here is familiar with a YouTuber named Game Dave. He did a video about a product called Wall Control, and I'm not sponsored by them. It's going to sound like I'm sponsored by them, but I promise I'm not. So Wall Control is a company, actually not far from here. They're based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and basically they sell metal pegboard panels that you can install on your wall, and you can buy customized shelving. It's very sturdy. You can get it in all kinds of different colors. It's really easy to install. And so I've gone crazy with Wall Control, and I've basically filled almost my entire game room with Wall Control, because you can fit a lot of games on a single panel. You can space the shelves out however you want. There's a lot of different accessories you can get. So it's a great product, and that's enabled me to really maximize the space in my game room. So I recommend everybody checks out Wall Control, and they really need to pay me. They really do. But yeah, I mean, that's really, you know, how I do it.
Well, let's see, I've had a couple of game rooms actually, and I think that everyone has probably been through this at one point or another. You've had to give up your game rooms, you know, kid is born, something happens, you got to get rid of this stuff. And honestly, this lady right here, she wanted me to have a game room so bad that she even had her dad come over, because I'm crap at building anything. You know, it's like it's 3 steps and it's already upside down. But her dad came over, helped me build some shelves, so we just built some shelves right onto the wall, just plain as can be, just standard lumber. And when we bought a house together, she made sure that there was a space for a game room. So we got a nice house built in the 60s, which is fantastic because it has 2 living rooms, and you know, you don't entertain like that anymore.
Right.
So not like that, you know. So now you entertain with games, and people come over and you hang out in the game room. Little did I know that she was just buttering me up to get her own room full of toys, but it still worked out for the best. And you know, we've set it up. It's got a nice den feel to it. There are some cubed shelves that we keep consoles that don't get a whole lot of play, that kind of separate the room, give you a nice seating area, and then the rest is pretty much just walls taken up with shelves and games and everything else. So it gets a little busy in there. You know, there's no wall left, but it comes together really nice, and it's always fun to have that flow in the room, because it kind of curves around, to have people walk through and start picking things out that they like about the room. You know, either going through the games, checking out the few things that are on the wall or anything like that, any of the fun little knickknacks that get on the shelves, and seeing their reaction. So you get that almost museum feel. So we'll get some ticket prices for you guys by the end of the day, let you know the hours, and come on over.
Get in it.
It's got to pay for itself sometimes.
Yeah. So crazy. So one of my most asked comments on my YouTube videos are, where did you get those shelves? And so I got IKEA, I think they're called Nedby shelves. Starts with a G, but it's Swedish, so I don't know how to say it. And the problem, though, is that they're individually placed shelves, and you have to put those little pegs in each one. And all you can put on there is DVD or video games. You can't do any other big collecting on it. So I bought 40 of them because I didn't think that I would have any other things in my game room when I set it up in the first place. And I came from like a smaller house. I had a closet that had my original collection in it. Literally, I opened up the closet, and up top I had some of my NES games. My Genesis stuff was all stacked on top of it, and I hated it. We moved into our new house. The wife was like, okay, yeah, you can have a game room, which I was like, all right, that's awesome. I married the right one. Getting in to that one, I was able to literally like it was like a blueprint in my head of like what I wanted the game room to look like. And I already made a mistake by purchasing those stupid ass shelves. But everybody wants them, and now they're discontinued. And I find that happens a lot with media shelving. Like there's something you'll fall in love with, or there's something that we really like, and then it's gone. Maybe you want a second one, maybe you want it to flank another side. And then the other question I get is the collapse shelves that IKEA has. It's like the squares, like all cubes. Very popular for people that have collection, but video games don't fit in it very well. Like you have to stack them across and then on top at the same time. So I'm actually making a huge change in my video collecting, and it was a video I watched on toy collecting a while back, but everybody has 3 collections. You have your first collection, where you were either a kid or you started to get into video games in the first place. Then you have your second collection, where you make all your mistakes. That's the one where you bought too much, or you collected stuff that you were not passionate about, and you just threw stuff in your game room, stuff was just shelf filler. And then you have collection 3.0, where like your head's clear, you know what you want to go after. Every single thing that's in that game room matters to you. And I think that takes everybody a long time. Like you have to go through those mistakes to finally get there on the collection. I'm now at 3.0, I'm gutting those shelves, and I'm literally making an accent wall where I can throw up some of my favorite artwork, and then I'm going to put my games in drawers and not on display anymore. Which I think is a very unique change for some people, because for a long time, I liked to look at the shit on the shelves. Like I really did enjoy seeing those spines, like, but I hate it. If you guys have not checked out Retro Rivals, they're an awesome couple. They're doing it right. They faced everything on their walls. They've made space for it. The better half, Jen, she's done artwork, custom artwork in the game room. Huge inspiration, but I think at this point, I just want things to be less cluttered. I think it's really easy when we collect that it's just, I bought stuff, but I didn't think where I was gonna put it. So you just go home and it's just there. So I hope that my collection 3.0 comes out, and check out the videos because I'm gonna start on it this next year. And you'll see we've got the game room, so I'm kind of scared. I don't know what I'm doing.
So anyone with a game room, game shelf, game whatever, like it evolves, right? So you start out with one thing and then it keeps getting bigger and bigger. So when I started, I had my original collection of stuff and it wasn't much at all. And so I had this grandiose idea of like, what am I gonna do? You know, at this point it was a game shelf, what a game room. So, you know, I love working with my hands and stuff. I'm real mathematical minded. So I had a friend of mine who came over, we bought wood, stained it, lacquered it. It was awesome. I made this shelf, a beautiful shelf, wooden shelf, and I made each shelf the right size for the games. I have like my long boxes. I have, I like the universal game cases. So they make stuff for Super Nintendo and Sega and all that. And all the stuff I didn't have complete box, I had shelves for those. DVD size. They make these cases for Game Boy games that are like the DS cases, same size. And you can get all the art from Universal game cases they had, the cover project. And so, I mean, it's a perfect shelf, and it was amazing. And I built it, and I put all the games in there, and like I had plenty of room. I'm like, oh, this shelf's gonna last me for, it lasted 2 weeks. And I was like, well, there we go. Because you know, you walk into some place and it's like, oh, here's my Sega Saturn collection for $100, and like, it's games you maybe don't want. You know, you said 2.0, right? But you're like, well, I gotta put on the shelf now. So then I got into like my first like a real game room. And so, you know, then you go the IKEA route because you're like, oh, I'm not gonna build a wooden shelf for everything. But it's kind of funny because, you know, it's like you say, as you start out, you're putting games on there because you want to just have like this cool thing to look at. But then it starts getting where it's like, okay, do I want to look at the spine for, you know, whatever, Rocko's Modern Life? Or do you want to like have like a cool figure or a collector's edition? Or like, I'm huge into guidebooks. And bad thing about these Billy bookshelves from IKEA is, you know, the shelves bend. But if you put them on the bottom row, you know, you're okay, you're not going to bend there because the extra support. But now all your guidebooks are on the ground. Yeah, I'm short, so it's cool for me, but everyone else is like, oh, check out my guidebooks. You're like, where? And, you know, so it end up planning a lot more. And then that's what starts arguments with your significant other, because you go through and like, you have a tape measure, you're like, okay, the bookshelf is 26 inches. Then you go to IKEA and then you just start lying and yelling and it's terrible. But like, that's, you know, as far as like, you know, what was the mistake? What could I change? What could be different? It's like, I wish I had the foresight of planning better. You know, like I wish I hadn't built that super cool shelf, or if I did, I built them all super cool. Or, you know, whatever. And I measured twice before buying and all those things. I also wish I maybe didn't buy an arcade machine because it was a huge. But no, I mean, that's kind of the way it is though. It's always going to change, but you know, you got to be fluid. I think it sounds like we're all changing our game rooms anyway.
Yeah,
So.
collection 3.0.
Yeah. So 3.0 is the goal. I'm going to use that from now on.
It makes me sad.
I really don't. That's a lie.
Okay. I figured it's fine.
I think it's the cool thing.
Awesome. So we have some giveaway items here, but we've got some trivia questions, right? Did you think of yours?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you?
On the
You
fly. On the fly. Did you think of one?
I can.
Good luck, you guys. 10 minutes. All right, Matt, go after it. And you can show everybody what you want to give away too.
Yeah, so all right, so here's how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna ask the question. If you know the answer, raise your hand. Whoever raises their hand first gets to answer. If you get it wrong, well, do we give them another guess or go on to the
you
next
get
one?
another guess.
All right, so I'm giving away Snake Rattle and Roll on the NES, which is a pretty fun little game. It's a game a lot of people don't really talk about, so. All right, my question is really easy, so I'm making it easy for you guys, all right? What is Mario and Luigi's last name? This man right here.
Mario.
You got it.
Mario.
Nice and easy.
Like canon last name
Or film last.
This guy.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna get challenged. You're gonna get challenged.
Physical challenge.
All right, well, I wasn't quite sure what to bring, so I just brought a couple of things. We've got just some random Super Power Club cards. There's Battletoads on Game Boy, X-Men on Game Gear, and Super Donkey Kong on Super Famicom. Whatever thing you want, go for it. Question I have, well, it's probably not going to be that easy, so great, make me look like the jerk. I was thinking, can anybody name the 3 games in the unofficial Quintet trilogy on Super Nintendo? Okay,
Well, shit, Tom.
this is crashing and burning. Am I doing something? Damn.
You made it
Take
too
something
hard.
off. Come on, man.
Said to make them easy.
You got it. Here you go.
I think he's going after it.
Let him go for it.
Is it the Terranigma trilogy? That one? Or is that American?
That's one of them.
Alright, so Terranigma, Illusions of Gaia? No?
Yes.
Yeah, and then Illusions of Gaia, Terranigma, and Soul Blazer.
He's got it. I will leave up to you guys if you want him to win this or if you want to mug him outside.
Whoever runs up here first can pick whatever they want. Oh, come on, cowards.
Free reign.
All right. Nobody wants any answers.
They're like, no, I'm not.
Okay, so collecting panel, video games. What console has the biggest game library? Don't look at your phones. What console has the biggest game library?
PS2?
It is PS2. Do you know how many?
No.
Does anybody know how many PS2 has?
Isn't it like 4,000?
Yeah, it's 3,857 times. Is that crazy?
It's crazy.
Like even the Wii, which is second place, only had something like 22.
Now, are we talking North American only or worldwide?
No, if you go worldwide, I think it's something like 10,000 on PS2. Absolutely insane. Oh yeah, I didn't say I was giving away. So we've got Base Wars. If you guys haven't played that on NES, I think that's awesome. Robots playing baseball can't get any better. This game is absolutely infuriating. I don't know how to play any one of the levels. Wood, Water, and Rage, the TNC server design.
Yep.
And then my favorite game, one of my favorite games on the NES, that's Marble Madness. I absolutely love Marble Madness. So you can pick whatever you'd like. So, have you got time?
I could call.
Okay.
I have an easy one, right? I mean, this is like the trivia for like when people are like, like when a girl's wearing a band shirt, it's like, yeah, name 3 songs. Like when people are like, oh, Mario, what's Mario 2 actually called? There you go. So, Hokey Pokey Pinocchio. Yeah, so there you go. Doki Doki Panic, good job, congratulations. So, I have here a whole bunch of games that some are bad, really bad, and some are alright. But they're all upside down, so you pick whichever one you want, and you never know what you're gonna get. So, no? Yeah. You're one. I like how you're selling. You said second, correct? Sure. All right. Come on, just grab Mr. Game. Who knows what you're gonna get? This one's kind of cheating because you can see it.
You can see that one as the
Yeah.
See, look at that. I'll take that
What
one.
was it? What is it? Home Alone. That's one of the crafty ones. Congratulations.
There's a lot more here, so to be honest, I think we almost have enough games for everybody that's in this room.
That's actually true. Maybe
you guys have anything else before we do a Q&A?
Unless you want to share your pickup today.
Or what did you pick up today?
I don't have it with me, but it's the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker for the GameCube, but it's the combo pack that comes with the Ocarina of Time Master Quest disc. It's a really rare variant. Don't ask me how much I paid for it. I don't want to talk about it. But it's the only one. It's the only one I needed. I have a complete GameCube collection. That's not part of the complete set. It's just a variant to have for stuff.
Oh, actually, I've got one more before we do Q&A. What is a subset collection that you guys are all really focusing on?
Yeah.
I kind of want to get into the DS and 3DS library, but I'm also going for Sega Master System. I love the Sega Master System. It's a console a lot of people don't talk about. There's a lot of great games for it, especially in the PAL territory, and also it's the console is more powerful than the NES. I don't know if a lot of people know that or not. The games have less glitches. I still like the NES better, don't get me wrong, there's no comparison, but the Sega Master System is fun to collect for.
Well, it's not really a game, but Nintendo Power. I don't know, there's something about just collecting old Nintendo Power magazines. Beyond that, maybe, I think the Square game. I gave up on that. when they bought out Enix, it's like, let's forget that. The Odyssey 2, though, because we picked up a huge lot and it got like 75% of the library, so now it's just going through and getting the last few games. And they have handles too. Just like me, love handles.
You and me both, baby. I have two subsets I'm going for. I'm going for GameCube exclusives collection, which was a mistake.
Yep.
Because I still need stuff like Go-Go Hypergrind,
Chibi Robo,
and Cubivore, and basically all the expensive shit. And then I'm going for an OG Xbox exclusive set. Has anybody ever tried to collect for the OG Xbox exclusives? So just so you know, there's not actually a definitive list that exists. So there was so many games for the OG Xbox that were supposed to be on PlayStation 2. So when you look at a list as Xbox exclusives only, they're not on there because they shared releases with the PS2 that were then canceled. So there's a lot of games on the OG Xbox you can only play on it, and it does not either have a stamp on it that says OG Xbox, or they're just rare because they didn't produce much of them. But that's awesome. I'm 8 games away from the OG Xbox exclusive set, and I'm 13 games away from the GameCube one.
Wow.
So it's close. It's close. But now I need $3,000 to complete the rest of it.
Yeah, right.
I have two subsets. One, like for sure, working designs games. They're freaking beautiful, and I own every single one except for like 3 for the TurboGrafx, and like each one of those is like $1,000. So we're done. I'm done. unless like some super generous like millionaire's like, here's a pair of Soul Stars. Like, that's not happening. But like. So all the working designs games, what's cool about them, if you've ever collected or seen working designs games, a lot of them like came with a bunch of crap. And like that's why they went out of business, right? So like I got like one of the PlayStation ones came with like a watch and an amulet and all this stuff. And then they had full color hardback leather bound guidebooks with like stickers and stamps you can put on your memory cards. And like I have all that stuff. It's super awesome. But the other thing that like I really collect for is my first RPG I ever had was Final Fantasy II, which is 4 for the people who know what's up.
That's just sport.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. I have every single version of that game that exists. Wonder Swan color, all of it. And like all in box. I even have, there's a Game Boy Advance Micro that came out Japan only. I have that thing like complete in box. So those are my two things. Working designs and Final Fantasy 2, 4, whatever. I'm always going to call it 2, but yeah, that's
dedication.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Open it up to some Q&A. Anybody have any questions at all for us?
Every question is
you guys are all friends here, so if you haven't been able to ask us a question, if you need to do it in private, Robert, we can talk later.
Yeah, great.
I understand. Anything? Got a dead room here. Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, you mentioned the Wind Waker variant. So what are your stances on collecting variants or greatest hits versions or player's choice versions of games? Do you do that, or you have to get the game regardless of what version it is?
So from like a collecting standpoint, I know a lot of people just go after Black Label. I'm just going to use that as a general term for kind of like the first releases on stuff. But I actually prefer to get collector's editions or like a 3-year or 4-year out because all the DLC will be on it already, or they've already fixed bugs or patches, so you don't have to deal with that. So I've always been a fan, especially when it comes to playing the games, of collecting like that. But that's mine.
every time I see a green label on a PlayStation game, I throw up. I can't do it. No, yeah, like, if it's a game that I'm like all about, and there's maybe a difference with the player's choice, I'll buy both. But yeah, personally, I can't.
Like cover baby?
Yeah, it's like, when you see the yellow on the GameCube, you're like yellow.
You don't like the yellow? I think yellow is cool.
I think red is the PlayStation. The worst one is 360. They do like a weird. They have a weird.
It's silver.
It's like silver.
And it's really ugly.
Yeah,
It's called platinum.
Platinum hits.
Good job. Personally, I'm more of a. I try my best to not.
Yeah.
Teach.
Actually, that's one that I always struggle with because I'm not so finicky as like the labels for CDs. I mean, I think maybe I kind of prefer to not have that colored spine, but I really get thrown for a loop whenever you start looking at something like an old 2600 game and you have 5 different covers for combat. You have one with labeled art, but then one with just text. It's which do you keep?
Yeah.
Or the Super Nintendo million seller games, the cartridge itself, instead of the original having more of that concurve plastic to it, the million sellers have that, that.
Yeah, it's a different.
That
Yeah, it's a
piece
different
is
model.
It has the gold seal on it.
So do you keep both of those because it's like, well, the cartridge is physically different, even though the game is exactly the same.
Right.
So I'm at a loss for that.
So I'm a crazy GameCube collector, right? So my goal as a collector is to collect literally everything for the GameCube. I mean, eventually I'm even going to bust in the Japanese games, the PAL games. Eventually I'm going to get into that too. So I have issues. Please send help. I need it. But no, so that's the only console that I'll collect variants for. I'm trying to get all the Player's Choice games. I can't find the definitive list of all the Player's Choice games. That's pretty tricky to do. But I do have a lot. I think I've got like 75 Player's Choice games, and I've got them all on a shelf, so they look really nice next to each other. They're all mixed in with the Black Label games. But every other console, nah. I mean, I'll get either or, you know what I mean? I'm not picky about it. I just want the game to play it. But for GameCube, I'm a little out there when it comes to the GameCube. So
You're a lot out
a
there.
lot out there.
You have GameCube toilet paper.
Yeah, I do. I actually do have GameCube toilet paper. That's not a lie. I haven't used it yet, but maybe one day. We'll see.
What does GameCube toilet paper look like?
It's a long story, man. Let's not talk about it.
With I was a little harsh on PlayStation, but I do have to give an example of what I was getting at. The green labels do suck, but have you ever seen like Legend of Dragon? Right, the game's amazing. Have you ever looked at the discs? They're beautiful. Like each one has a different character, full color for their character, right? Like Dart's all red. It's just, they're all for their character. But when you get the Player's Choice one, not only do you get the green spine, the bit "Hey, you suck" on the front, but each disc is in there and it has the art, but they're all black and white.
They are, yeah.
And it's like, oh my god! I'm just saying. Don't.
That's good. Good question. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, you've had enough, sir. No, Dan, go ahead.
Besides collecting, what system do you find yourself playing more than anything else?
God, what is it? Yeah.
Like when you play a game, what system most of the time is
Well, the problem is, if I play a modern system, I have a couple hours, I'm excited, I turn it on,
Yeah.
and then I wait an hour and a half.
Yep.
And then I'm not excited anymore,
Yeah.
and then I move on to something else. But I probably throw in the most is 64. I don't know why, but I throw in 64. I love being nostalgic for the 64. Like that's the one under the Christmas tree that my mom was actually really awesome. So it's just a quick story. So I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I had a Sega Genesis, like that was the childhood one. And I got a Super Nintendo the same year as I got a 64. So what happened is I said, I want a Super Nintendo, I wanted to play Killer Instinct. I was like, I was a fighting game fan, I thought this was gonna be awesome. So Mom picks me up the Super Nintendo, and then Sears had, this is right when 64 was hard to get. Sears had like 3, like sitting underneath like the shelf, and she looked at it, she was like, oh my God, that's 64, I know he's talked about it. So she snags one, and she has a coworker behind her in line, and like they were friends, and he had one set on hold. and they sold her the last one. And so they're friends, and they have a conversation. She still takes it home, but they end up having a conversation. She brings me aside, and she goes, listen, normally I wouldn't do this because it's a Christmas present, but we're gonna give that 64 away to him. That should have been his. And I cried. I was 12 years old, and I went into the bedroom, and I was like, I just want to look at it one last time. And I'm like holding the 64 in my hand. And so it was gone. And then Christmas Day happens, and I open up a Super Nintendo. I'm stoked. And they go, we got one more gift for you. I'm like, what are you talking about, right? And they hand it to me, and I open it up, and it's a 64. And I was like, how? I thought you gave it to that guy. And I'm sorry for children, and she goes, fuck that guy. Like, he never got it, I never gave it to him. So it's just a badass story of a badass mom, like, trying to make Christmas awesome for her kids. So, to this day, like, 64, just, it matters for those reasons, so, yeah. What was the question?
Which console you play on?
Oh yeah, I answered.
I usually find myself playing a lot of PS4. My wife and her sister like to watch a lot of games for the story, so I do that to entertain them. But I've actually been going back and playing a lot of Sega Genesis. Growing up, I had a Super Nintendo, a buddy had a Genesis. There was no console war between us, but he only had a handful of games, so I've been going back and checking out all the games that I missed out on.
Dan, I want you to tell me what you think the answer is. GameCube.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like everything that question except for retro.
Yeah, right, exactly.
The Wii. That's all.
He's like, Dreamcast?
More? More? Yes.
He didn't answer the question.
You weren't even supposed to be on this panel. That's true. How did you get here? Who are you? Digital. I have put over 600 hours in the Fantasy Star Online too, and I don't feel good about it. I seriously don't feel good about that. In all honesty, like, I probably played my Series X the most only because, so I've moved, like, I'm from Florida, and I've moved to Maryland, and it's the only way to really be with my friends from back home. But if you were to take that part out of it, because, like, it's not like I'm playing the Series X because I'm like, oh yeah, it's more Battlefield, like, and like if it's like, you know, the console that I play the most, like I really enjoy, it'd probably be Super Nintendo, because Super Nintendo's the jams. I play, like, shout out to Ocarina of Time though, like that game by itself almost eclipses the Super Nintendo. But yeah, I mean, like, technically, for truthfulness, it would probably actually be the Series X, sadly.
I mean, dude, Xbox Game Pass is awesome.
Absolutely, it's a deal.
Yeah, doing good.
Buy it today.
This is me from RetroWolf and everyone else who's doing it. I'm a big Master System fan, and it's Sega in general. So what is your, like, you said you're plugging to try and get some, what is the one that you are really looking forward to get, and which one are you dreading having fun?
I think I'm missing a few of the Alex Kidd games, and some of those are pretty hard to find. But really, right now, I've got pretty much all the Master System games that I want. I'm going to start dipping into the PAL territory at some point. I don't know a lot about the library other than there's a hell of a lot more games that came out in Europe for it, and a lot of really good ones. I've got a friend that lives in England, and he's a big Sega Master System guy, so he recommends a lot of games to me. But I guess if I had to give you one, I would say New Zealand Story. That's I think it's pretty hard to find, and I hate that game, but for some reason I want it. I'm a masochist, I guess. I don't know.
And just two recommendations for PAL, Master of Darkness,
Oh, yeah.
and Psychic.
Yeah,
Solid.
sweet.
So you all collect a lot, right? Obviously, what is your favorite piece that's not a game itself?
Game related still, or just any
Can be
piece?
game related, just not
Yeah.
a physical like copy of a game.
Not a console or a console?
Console's cool, right?
Oh, you're pointing at me. Am I gonna say the wrong thing? Actually, we have like some craft stuff that people have made for us, and we have that in our room that they're gaming related, so it goes along really well with the collection. Russ Lyman painted us this fantastic Link to the Past picture. You guys are here, not at his panel, so thank you. But stuff like that I really love because it really comes with much more of a story behind it, but it still has that gaming flair.
GameCube toilet paper. No, No, my answer's quick. I have a sealed Resident Evil 4 chainsaw controller, and it's an awesome. You have one too?
I got one too.
Dude, it's an awesome display piece because people see it and they're like, "What the hell is that?" It's awesome.
Also, send me a picture of the GameCube logo ready to.
I will. Yeah, I will. I
Is the
will.
GameCube one yellow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have the PS2 is in
There's
there.
one out there.
I
It
saw
will
that
be.
one. That looks awesome. Okay, this is my favorite piece, and I sold it, so it's not my favorite piece anymore because I'm done. Thank you, sir. He just came in and was like 5 minutes.
Just like Dad
So I
used to say.
I'm a huge God of War fan. Like, I know a lot of people say that just because the new one came out. Like, I've loved God of War since its inception. And my red God of War PSP was like my, holy grail. Like, I thought that was the cool. And all it is just a stupid vinyl, like, on the back of the PSP, and it's red shell. But I loved it. And I sold all of my PSP collection for a 2DS to play Mario Kart right when it first came out, and I kicked myself ever since. So I'm actually on the hunt. You guys see it around the convention. I need that God of War PSP back.
Are you ready to be mad, Andy?
Yeah.
I just sold a sealed one for $360.
I hate you right now. We are no longer friends.
And this was a few days ago too.
So this isn't like a good answer, but like personally, you know, I want to say like fan art that I've been given because it's just so cool, right? Like people draw you, but like if you take the fact that that's personal to me as a content creator and like what's something cool in my game collection, I have the coolest thing. It's so cool. You probably don't think it's cool, but it's freaking awesome. You're wrong. It's super cool. It's so cool. When we talk about it, I'll do it right now. So I love Mega Man Legends. Like Mega Man Legends is the best. If you don't think so, you're wrong. Mega Man Legends 1 and 2 are amazing. Tron Bond is too expensive. I will say that, but it's still great. Everyone who knows anything about Mega Man Legends 3 got canceled. But there was a very short time period, like a week, where they had a Comic-Con somewhere. I think it was New York Comic-Con, and Capcom had official Mega Man Legends 3 project posters, and like I didn't even know they existed. And I found one on eBay that was misnamed. It was like Mega Man. And I was like, what's this poster? It's like Mega Man poster from Comic-Con. And it was that poster and also a game called Mega Man Universe, which you also may or may not remember, but like it was supposed to have Ryu and all this stuff. And there was 2 posters, and I've never seen them. Like, I don't think they, you know, like there's no sold listings. It's like there's no value for them. And I bought them for $5, and I was like, this is the coolest thing. So I have this Mega Man Legends 3 project poster. It even has an ESRB rating on it, and it's like, it's amazing. It's the coolest. Framed, totally framed.
We got like 3 minutes left, so any others? Yes.
Yeah, I want to know from each of you, what's the black sheep console in your collection that either doesn't get played at all or collected for at all? What do you have tucked away under the
Okay,
bed?
I already sold it recently because I hated it. I hate the 3DO with a passion. I can't stand that stupid console. Like, the fact that you have to plug player 2 into player 1's controller is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, and I played Soccer Kid once and I hated it, and that was it. Like, but every game I've ever put in for the 3DO, I'm not a fan. Including, what was it, Zelda? Was it the...
That's
one,
CDI.
oh, it's CDI. Yeah. Then there's a game called PO'd. You guys remember PO'd? Yeah, I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy the controller. So that one won't be in the collection anymore.
Funny enough, the CDI, I literally got that just for the Zelda games, and if I find something super cheap for it, yeah, sure, let's pick it up. But I don't actively collect for it. I don't play it. I torture people with the Zelda games, but that's about it.
This might make some of you mad, but the Atari 2600. Don't like it. I can't get into it. I'm sorry. I just can't. That's it.
It's the door.
Is that not having an answer? Nah, I don't know. TurboGrafx 16. I just don't have one. Like, that's all I'm sure. That's all. Even if I did, TurboGrafx 16 is super quick.
Awesome, guys. Thank you very much for coming to our little panel here talking about video game collection. We've got some freebies, some giveaways, some stickers, some fun stuff too. If you guys haven't checked any of the YouTube channels out, go check it out. RetroWolf88, DoYouNerd, PacManCase, and Blips and Pips on YouTube. Send us a comment, say hello. We'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you, and good night.
Thanks, guys.